Beloved soul, let the noise fall away for one breath. Something has been pressing against your spirit all day, and you haven't had the words for it. But heaven has them. Tonight the veil thins. Tonight the hidden becomes visible. Tonight the secrets that tried to shape your path without your consent are being dragged into the light. You felt it, didn't you? That strange tightening in your chest when the sun went down. That quiet pull in your spirit that whispered, "Stay awake. Something is coming." You weren't imagining that. You weren't overthinking. You were being summoned, because the Most High has spoken over your life. No more secrets. Not another night. Not another hour. Everything that was concealed in shadows is being revealed before your next breath. Chosen one, this is a divine appointment. Not a coincidence. Not a random scroll. God aligned this moment with precision because you've been walking through days that felt heavier than your strength, nights where you cried in silence so no one would hear, moments where you wondered if heaven had forgotten your name. But God sees every tear, and He remembers every injustice. And He says, "Enough." A revelation is rising for your eyes alone. The same God who declares in Isaiah 4:3-19, "Behold, I am doing a new thing," is doing it now in real time around your life. And the secrets that tried to delay your breakthrough season can no longer hide. Not after tonight. Because the Holy Spirit is pulling back the curtain with a clarity that will shake you awake and align you with your divine purpose, your abundance, your elevation. You are stepping into a moment where heaven speaks loudly. And when heaven speaks, falsehoods fall apart. So listen closely. Stay present. Open your heart. What you're about to hear will not just explain what has been happening around you. It will explain what has been happening within you. And chosen one, before we go deeper, let me ask you this. You feel that shift already, don't you? If this is where your spirit is leaning, stay with me. Around minute 5, I will ask you to subscribe, not for numbers, but because this message is part of a spiritual awakening you were never meant to walk through alone. Now, breathe. The revelation begins here. And the moment you stepped into that silence, something inside you whispered, "This has been building for a long time." Because, chosen one, the truth is, you've been living with secrets around you long before tonight. Not just secrets others kept, but secrets you kept from yourself. The ones you buried because speaking them out loud felt too dangerous, too exposing, too real. There are nights you lie awake staring at the ceiling, feeling a weight you can't explain. The kind that settles on your chest the moment the world goes quiet. You tell yourself you're just tired, but you know better. That heaviness is spiritual warfare pressing against a destiny that has been marked since before you were born. It is the pressure of breakthrough timing colliding with everything that has tried to delay you. And listen, there are moments when you walk into a room and feel something shift, even when no one says a word. You sense the atmosphere before the conversation starts. You pick up on tension others pretend not to notice. You feel when someone's smile doesn't match their intentions. That sensitivity is not a flaw. It is the gift God gave you to survive environments that were never safe for your soul. But what hurts the most is how often you've doubted that gift. How many times have you talked yourself out of your own discernment? How many times have you said, "Maybe I'm overthinking," when your spirit was actually screaming, "Pay attention." You silenced your intuition to protect someone else's comfort. You ignored red flags to prove you weren't paranoid. You gave grace to people who only gave you confusion, and the cost was high. You felt destiny delay creeping into your days. Opportunities slipped away with no explanation. Doors stayed closed even when you were doing everything right. Finances tightened at the exact moment you needed clarity. Relationships shifted without warning. And you kept saying, "Why does it feel like something is blocking me? Why does it feel like I'm walking through invisible resistance?" Because you were. There has been spiritual interference around your life, subtle enough to ignore, but strong enough to frustrate every step forward. You've been feeling the effects of financial blockage that doesn't match your effort, emotional exhaustion that doesn't match your circumstances, and a strange sense that your spirit knows something your mind hasn't caught up with yet. And the loneliness, you don't talk about that part. Not the loneliness of being alone, but the loneliness of being surrounded by people who don't actually see you. People who want your strength but never ask about your wounds. People who celebrate your light but walk away when your darkness needs a hand. You've carried pain quietly. You've cried in bathrooms, cars, closets, anywhere you could steal a moment to fall apart without anyone hearing. You've learned how to smile while bleeding, how to function while breaking, how to move forward while a storm raged inside you, because you thought this was just life. Because you thought God was silent. Because you thought the struggle meant something was wrong with you. But chosen one, it wasn't you. There has been a shadow of secrecy trailing you, hidden intentions, hidden conversations, hidden motives. Someone around you hasn't been who you believed they were. And even though you didn't have the words for it, your spirit felt the bruise long before the truth surfaced. This is why God said, "No more secrets." Because the unseen has been affecting the seen. Because what you didn't know has been shaping what you could not explain. Because your breakthrough season cannot begin until the darkness that clung to your path is exposed. And right now, as heaven reveals everything, you are beginning to understand that your struggle was never random. It was targeted. And the revelation waiting for you is bigger than you expect, because it isn't just about the people around you. It's about the part of your story that has been hidden even from your own understanding. You've been standing on ground that hasn't been fully yours. You've been carrying emotional wounds that weren't healed because the source was never named. You've been living beneath a ceiling that God never placed over you. And now that veil is tearing. But before the truth fully rises, before the revelation takes form, there is something deeper, something older, something sacred that heaven is preparing to uncover, because what you're about to see will not just explain your past, it will redefine your future. And that truth begins with the moment everything around you began to shift, the moment your spirit felt watched, the moment the atmosphere changed, the moment you sensed someone was carrying a secret with your name on it. And that moment, the one where your spirit tightened without warning, was the first sign that something deeper was happening inside you. Not just around you, inside you. Because chosen one, there's a kind of pain you've never admitted out loud, a kind that sits underneath every memory, every disappointment, every uneasy silence. It's the pain of being the one who doesn't fit in the place you were born into. You've carried the black sheep mark since childhood, haven't you? Not because you were rebellious, not because you lacked love, but because something in you always saw the truth others refused to see. You noticed the tension adults pretended wasn't there. You felt the atmosphere shift during arguments, even before a word was spoken. You sensed hidden resentments long before they surfaced. And instead of calling you prophetic, they called you dramatic. Instead of praising your sensitivity, they mocked it. Instead of protecting you, they projected onto you. So you learned to shrink, to soften your voice, to apologize for things that weren't your fault. You learned how to walk into family gatherings with your guard already raised, scanning the room for emotional landmines. You learned how to brace yourself when someone said, "We need to talk," because those words rarely came with love attached. And the worst part, you started believing you were the problem. That maybe you were the misfit. Maybe you were too much. Maybe you were the reason peace could never last. But chosen one, hear this through the weight of your chest, you were never the black sheep. You were the awakened one in an unawakened environment. And spiritual warfare always begins in the places where your identity is first formed. You've been fighting a generational curse long before you knew what a curse was. You were born into a story that needed a cycle breaker, a destiny realignment, a divine intervention, and heaven chose you. But something far more painful followed you from that early rejection. Because isolation doesn't end when childhood does. It matures. It mutates. It becomes silent prisons you enter without noticing. You began attracting people who mirrored the same patterns, didn't you? This is where the wound deepens. There was someone, one person you let closer than most. Someone you trusted because you thought they finally saw you. Someone whose voice felt like safety at first. Someone who touched the most tender places of your spirit, then slowly turned those places into leverage. You felt their energy shift long before their actions did. A coldness in their tone. A strange pause before they answered. Eyes that stopped meeting yours with warmth. Your spirit knew. You knew, but your heart didn't want to believe it. Because after a lifetime of being misunderstood, the last thing you wanted was to admit that betrayal had found its way into your inner circle again. And here's the part you rarely acknowledge. It wasn't their actions that hurt the most. It was the familiarity of the wound. It was the echo of childhood rejection wrapped in an adult disguise. And chosen one. If your spirit is stirring right now, if your chest feels heavy, if memories you buried are surfacing, whisper this in the comments to seal your awareness. No more hidden wounds. Now breathe, because this pain didn't stop in your relationships. It began to seep into your physical world, into the nights when you should have been resting, into the places where you expected peace, into the hours when shadows feel louder than truth. And it didn't stop at your sleep. This attack began spilling over into your atmosphere, into the quiet moments when you felt something press against your spirit at 2 or 3 a.m. Into the dreams that left you waking with your heart racing, into the strange sensations that made your skin crawl even though nothing was physically there. There were nights you jolted awake with no sound, no reason, no explanation, just a sudden surge of fear, as if something unseen was standing beside your bed. You tried to pray, but your thoughts scattered. You tried to breathe, but your chest tightened. You tried to turn on the light, but even the light felt dimmer than usual. This wasn't anxiety. This wasn't imagination. This was midnight warfare, aimed at draining your strength before your breakthrough timing arrived. And you've wondered for months why your body feels heavier even on calm days. Why your energy collapses out of nowhere. Why your emotions swing without warning. It's because your spirit has been fighting battles your mouth never learned to describe. Dreams that felt too real. Shadows that felt too close. Silences that felt too loud. Your body started carrying the war. Your chest, your shoulders, your spine, tight without reason. Your stomach twisting during conversations that felt off. Your breath shortening when you entered certain environments. Chosen one, this wasn't weakness. This was spiritual sensitivity, your early warning system, alerting you to a secret threat moving beneath the surface of your life. And what if I told you that the person connected to this threat, the one whose mask is now cracking in the spirit, the one whose words carried double meanings, the one whose presence stirred unease in your soul, is closer to being exposed than you realize. Because what heaven is pulling forward next, the revelation forming at the edge of your understanding, is about to name the source of your exhaustion, the origin of your confusion, the identity behind the spiritual interference that surrounded your path, and the reason your destiny alignment has felt delayed for so long. And as this truth rises, as the veil thins, as the unseen begins to take shape, you will finally understand why your spirit trembled the way it did in those quiet hours, why your heart resisted certain connections, why your peace evaporated in specific rooms, why the heaviness kept returning even after you thought you healed, and why heaven is saying with urgency, "No more secrets, because the moment has come when..." And heaven is saying with urgency, "No more secrets, because the moment has come when the truth refuses to stay buried." And chosen one, before the revelation fully breaks open, there is another layer of your struggle that heaven is pulling into the light, one that shaped your steps long before you realized you were walking with a weight that wasn't yours. There has been a burden pressing on your shoulders that didn't begin with you. A heaviness in your bloodline. A pattern that tried to repeat itself through you. You felt it in moments when you said, "Why does this always happen to me?" You felt it when blessings nearly reached your hands, only to dissolve at the last second. You felt it in the strange resistance that shows up whenever you get close to breakthrough timing. This wasn't random. This was inheritance. Not the kind passed down with smiles and memories, but the kind left unspoken. The kind no one in your family had the courage to confront. You grew up carrying stories that weren't yours, emotions that didn't belong to you, fears that were whispered into the bones of every child born in that lineage. You learned early that some people in your family lived small because life taught them to. You learned that dreams were dangerous, that hope was fragile, that love was conditional, that speaking truth would get you labeled ungrateful, arrogant, rebellious. And yet, something in you refused to shrink, because heaven planted a different seed in you, one that made you ache for more, one that made you restless in cycles that felt too tight for your spirit. But with that desire came a weight. No one warned you about the ancestral burden, the call to be the cycle breaker. You're the one who feels everything intensely. You're the one who can't ignore dysfunction. You're the one who has visions of a life better than anything you've seen in your family. You're the one who pays the price for choosing healing when everyone else chose silence. And chosen one, that price has been high, because cycle breakers walk roads no one else understands. You've fought spiritual warfare you couldn't name. You've battled thoughts that didn't originate with you. You've faced financial blockage every time you tried to rise above the limitations set before you. You've confronted emotional patterns handed down through generations. It's exhausting carrying a destiny aligned with heaven while fighting a generational curse rooted in earth. And sometimes, be honest, you've asked God, why me? Why do I feel everything so deeply? Why do I suffer while others coast? Why am I the one who has to change everything? If your spirit resonates with this whisper, it in the comments to claim your identity. I break the cycle. Because chosen one, breaking the cycle didn't only affect your internal world. It seeped into your emotional landscape. It amplified the ache in your chest. It exposed wounds you didn't know you were still carrying. And the deeper truth is this: the weight of that calling didn't just isolate you, it distorted the mirror you see yourself through. Because when you've carried responsibility your whole life, when you've been the fixer, the healer, the one who sees what others pretend not to, something dangerous begins to whisper into your mind, the imposter shadow. This shadow is subtle. It doesn't scream. It whispers, "You're not enough. You're not ready. Someone else could do this better. God chose the wrong person. You're too broken to carry anything divine." And because you've battled disappointment after disappointment, because doors have closed that should have opened, because people have betrayed you after promising loyalty, because destiny has felt delayed for so long, there are moments when you believe the shadow more than the scripture. Moments when your hands shake before you start something new. Moments when your voice trembles because you don't want to fail again. Moments when you dim your brilliance so others don't feel threatened. Moments when you replay every mistake because shame is louder than memory. This is psychological warfare, a direct attack against your identity, your calling, your divine purpose, your breakthrough season. And here is the part no one knows. You look confident from the outside, but inside you sometimes feel like a child pretending to wear armor too big for your frame. You've prayed for confirmation, not because you lack faith, but because you fear disappointing God. You've held back from opportunities, not because you weren't capable, but because the echo of earlier failures still vibrates through your nerves. You've stayed silent when you should have spoken, hesitated when you should have moved, shrunk when heaven was trying to expand you. And the spiritual realm saw this. The enemy saw this. He recognized the potential inside you and targeted your identity long before he targeted your destiny, which is why the shadow grew stronger in the seasons when your breakthrough was closest, which is why you felt the urge to sabotage right at the doorway of elevation, which is why your heart raced at the thought of success, not just failure. Because the imposter shadow knew something you didn't yet know about yourself, that you were standing at the threshold of divine reversal, that heaven was preparing to lift you into a calling so vast that your old identity could not survive. That the secrets being revealed now are not just about others, but about you and who you truly are. Beneath every wound, every lie, every shadowed thought, and chosen one, heaven is not done revealing, because the moment you begin to face the truth of who you are, something else rises, something even more powerful, something that explains why the warfare intensified, why the secrets deepened, why the shadows clung to your path, and why the revelation waiting ahead is about to expose the one thing you never expected, the one truth that will shift everything, the one hidden thread connecting every moment of pain you've endured. Because what comes next is the moment everything snaps into focus, because chosen one, all the threads you thought were random were never random. They were woven with a precision you could not see while you were hurting. Every lonely night, every betrayal that shattered your trust, every financial blockage that suffocated your hope, every delay that made you question your worth, every spiritual attack that left you trembling awake at 3 a.m., every relationship that drained you, every season where you felt invisible, overlooked, abandoned by those you would have died for, all of it, every single moment was divine training. You were not being punished. You were being prepared. Because people who carry great mantles must walk through great crushing. Oil does not flow without pressure. Elevation does not come without endurance. Wealth does not rest on a foundation that hasn't been tested. And God refused to place glory on a heart that had not been strengthened by fire. You have been in God's elite refining program, a curriculum custom, designed for you, hidden from others, misunderstood by many, but recognized instantly by heaven. The spiritual warfare that stalked you was proof of your spiritual rank. The delays were divine protection shielding you from premature exposure. The heartbreaks were necessary closures so God could redirect you toward destiny alignment. The fatigue, the heaviness, the inner cracking, those were symptoms of a spirit expanding beyond old containers. And the reason you felt attacked from every side, because what is inside you threatens everything that once tried to control you. Chosen one, listen carefully. You were not being broken. You were being rebuilt. You were not being emptied. You were being prepared to overflow. God has been sharpening you, maturing you, stretching you, preparing a vessel capable of carrying not just blessing but legacy. Generational wealth, divine purpose, authority in realms you have not yet stepped into, influence you don't even realize you're being shaped for. This is why nothing in your past made sense, but suddenly now, everything does, because you are standing at the doorway of divine reversal. The moment heaven releases what was withheld, the moment compensation locates you, the moment the scales of justice tip in your favor, and, chosen one, if your spirit is rising inside you, if something in your chest feels like fire beginning to breathe again, then listen with everything in you. Tap that subscribe button right now if you believe God is preparing to restore to you double everything you lost. Not for the algorithm, for agreement, for alignment, for activation. Because what God is about to release requires a connected spirit and an awakened heart. Now hear me. This is where everything shifts. You have endured enough. The attacks were many, but your spirit did not bow. The delays were long, but your destiny did not collapse. The pain was deep, but your calling survived every blow. And now God says, it is time to strike back. The season of being the one who absorbs the warfare ends here. Tonight, you become the one who overturns it. Heaven has placed in my spirit the most precise and divinely revealed strategies, the framework, the blueprint, the spiritual weapons, the pathway, the set of instructions that will help you break cycles, end interference, silence every opposing force, recover what was stolen, and step boldly into the glory prepared for you. And, chosen one, before I release the first key, the very first shift that will change everything, I need you to take one breath, steady your spirit, and prepare yourself, because what comes next requires a spirit that is awake, steady, and ready to move. The warfare that surrounded your life did not come to destroy you, it came to reveal what you carry. And now heaven releases the first layer of the divine blueprint, the sacred protocols that shift you from defense to dominion. The first strategy is what heaven calls the rule of immediate separation. When God reveals a secret, when he uncovers hidden motives, exposes silent sabotage, or shows you the spiritual source of your exhaustion, your first assignment is not negotiation, it is separation. Do this, immediately remove your energy, your availability, your emotional oxygen from every source that drains you. You don't need a confrontation. You need distance. When someone has been a vessel for spiritual interference, whether knowingly or unknowingly, you must stop giving them access to your thoughts, your fears, your plans. Block the channels where spiritual warfare entered. Stop explaining yourself to those who cannot handle your elevation. Stop apologizing for protecting your peace. This is how you break generational curses of people. Pleasing and emotional entanglement. Heaven is saying, when I expose, do not delay. Divine alignment accelerates the moment you step back from what was never meant to carry your destiny. This is how you reclaim authority over your atmosphere. This is how you stop destiny thieves from hearing the blueprint before it manifests. This is how you shut the door that allowed spiritual heaviness to enter your home and your mind. When separation is immediate, restoration becomes swift. Remove your presence quietly, firmly, and completely. The second strategy is the protocol of spiritual reversal. Everything the enemy tried to use against you must now be turned into a weapon for your breakthrough. You do this by taking what wounded you and speaking the opposite over your life with prophetic force. If they tried to break your confidence, declare clarity of purpose. If they tried to drain your finances, speak financial breakthrough until it becomes your reality. If they whispered lies about your worth, proclaim spiritual authority that shakes the atmosphere. Your words become legal documents in the spirit, and heaven waits for your declaration. Say it out loud in your home, in your car, in your quiet place. Every weapon formed against me reverses back into my elevation. Do this daily for the next season. This reversal rewrites the energetic field around your life. It dismantles every destiny delay. It uproots every curse spoken over you by those who resented your light. And here is what God needs you to stop doing. Stop replaying what happened to you. Start rewriting what happens next. Spiritual warfare loses power when your voice rises above the memory of the attack. Speak until your atmosphere bends. Speak until your confidence returns. Speak until heaven recognizes your sound again. The reversal begins the moment your language shifts from survival to dominion. The third strategy is the command of prophetic stillness. This is not passive silence. This is sacred positioning. When heaven reveals secrets, your next move is not action, it is alignment. Chosen one, you must learn to be still long enough for divine intervention to catch up to the battlefield. Do this immediately. Stop rushing, stop forcing outcomes, stop checking on situations that God already closed. Heaven moves fastest for those who refuse to move out of panic. Prophetic stillness is the discipline of listening for God's next instruction instead of reacting to the enemy's last attack. Sit in the quiet and ask, Lord, show me what is mine and what is not mine to carry. When you do this, the fog begins to lift. Confusion dissolves. Breakthrough timing accelerates. You begin to feel your spirit expand again, as if your internal compass finally points north. And listen carefully. The reason stillness is commanded now is because the next phase of your destiny requires precision. One wrong emotional reaction can reopen doors God just sealed. One rushed decision can invite back the warfare you just conquered. Stillness is how warriors reload. Prophetic stillness is how kings and queens regain their throne. And when you practice it, you will begin to notice peace settling on you like a mantle, a confirmation that heaven is preparing your next instruction, because prophetic stillness softens the atmosphere so heaven can speak the next instruction with clarity. And once that clarity begins to rise in your spirit, chosen one, God ushers you into the next tier of your divine training strategies that shift you from surviving the attack to commanding the battlefield itself. The next strategy is the prophetic decree. This is where you stop begging God for change and start exercising the authority He already placed inside you. Do this. Boldly speak to the situation the way Jesus spoke to the storm, not with fear, with command. Say out loud, every delay breaks, every hidden enemy falls, every blessing aligns under heaven's timing. You are not asking. You are legislating. You are issuing heavenly orders into the seen and unseen realms. When you decree, angels respond. Darkness recoils. Financial breakthrough begins to loosen. Destiny acceleration activates because your voice becomes the sound of agreement with God's intention for your life. Speak these decrees in the morning, in the shower, in your car, whenever your spirit feels pressure building. This is how you reclaim territory lost to spiritual warfare and dismantle generational curses that tried to silence you. And if you feel the fire rising in your spirit right now, comment this phrase as a declaration of authority: I speak with power. The momentum deepens with the next strategy, the circle of silence. This is one of the hardest but most necessary protocols. Chosen one, you must learn to guard your dreams like sacred scrolls. Heaven said, no more secrets because revelation is coming, but now you must respond by controlling what you reveal. Stop announcing your plans prematurely. Stop sharing breakthroughs with people who secretly hope you fail. Stop giving fake Josephs access to blueprints they were never meant to hold. The enemy cannot attack what he cannot see. And many of your past delays came because you trusted the wrong ears with your divine assignments. From this day forward, keep your next move hidden until it manifests. Talk to God. Write it down. Speak it in prayer, but do not share it casually. The circle of silence is not isolation, it is spiritual protection. It shields you from envy, spiritual sabotage, and emotional leakage. It ensures that destiny alignment unfolds without interference. And when you master this, your steps become sharper, your intuition rises, and your path clears with supernatural speed. And now, heaven draws you toward the third strategy, the protocol of first fruits. This is spiritual discipline disguised as simplicity. Give God the first minutes of your day. Before your phone, before messages, before scrolling, before reacting to the world. The first breath of your morning determines the frequency of your entire day. When you wake up and immediately place your mind under divine alignment, heaven expands your clarity, multiplies your strength, and filters out the noise that once distracted you. Do this. Sit on the edge of your bed, close your eyes and say, Lord, order my steps. Guard my spirit. Reveal what I cannot see. This small act opens the gates for wealth transfer, for protection, for divine intervention. It keeps your spirit anchored, so deception cannot slip in while you are unguarded. And here is the mystery when God gets your first moments. He calibrates your intuition for the entire day. You begin to notice signs, warnings, opportunities. You become spiritually sensitive to shifts in atmosphere. You feel when someone's words carry hidden intent. You know when a door is divine or dangerous. This protocol awakens the watchman inside you, and as the morning light aligns you with heaven's rhythm, there is another instruction rising, one that prepares you for the next layer of strategy, the one that will require your full attention, because what comes next is for a warrior who is ready to sharpen their edge even further. Once God aligns your mornings, He begins to align your nights. And this is where the next layer of divine protocols rises like fire in your spirit. The next strategy is the midnight cry. Chosen one, listen closely. The hours when the world sleeps are the hours heaven listens closest. When you wake up suddenly at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., that is not insomnia. That is invitation. That is the watchman anointing pulling on your spirit. Do this when your eyes open in the dark. Do not reach for your phone. Don't question why you're awake. Sit up, put your feet on the floor, and whisper, "Speak, Lord, I'm listening." Your tears in those hours become weapons. Your whispers become warfare. Your breath becomes a prophetic instruction carried straight into unseen realms. This is how you overturn generational curses while hell is off its guard. This is how you reclaim territory stolen from your bloodline before sunrise. And if you feel something stirring in your chest as you hear this comment, the phrase "I rise at midnight," because chosen one, that is the hour your spirit starts winning battles before your body wakes. And as the night teaches you how to watch, heaven now teaches you how to war. This moves you into the next strategy, the altar of praise. This is not about music. This is not about singing. This is about releasing a sound that confuses every enemy assigned to your destiny. Praise breaks algorithms in the spirit. It disrupts the patterns of spiritual warfare. When you praise while hurting, heaven calls it faith. When you praise while confused, heaven calls it trust. When you praise while under attack, heaven calls it dominance. Do this immediately when you feel heaviness settling on your chest, when anxiety rises without reason, when the atmosphere feels thick. Pause everything and say out loud, "God, I still choose you." Put on worship that lifts the room. Let your voice become the breaking point. This is how you shake off spiritual heaviness and pull divine alignment back into your home. It is impossible for darkness to stay where praise is being lifted. This is one of your greatest spiritual weapons, and you must use it without hesitation. Now that your nights are guarded and your praise is sharpened, God brings you to a strategy that deals with something far too many chosen ones. Avoid the toxic detox. Hear me, beloved soul, because this is where destiny acceleration becomes real. You cannot walk into the next season carrying people who belonged to your last one. Some connections didn't just drain you emotionally, they lowered your spiritual frequency. They confused your intuition. They clouded your clarity. They made you question your worth, your calling, your future. Do this with holy boldness. Look at the conversations that leave you empty. Look at the relationships that never pour back. Look at the people who only call when they need your strength. Then step back. Without drama, without explanation, without guilt. This is not cruelty. This is stewardship. This is how you protect your calling from spiritual leakage. The more you release what drains you, the faster wealth transfer, clarity, discernment, and divine instruction begin pouring into your life. And the ones you release, they were never connected to your elevation, only your exhaustion. And as you begin cleansing your inner circle and clearing spiritual space around your life, heaven prepares to reveal the next wave of guidance that will take you even deeper, because what opens after this detox is a level of clarity enemy cannot infiltrate. And once your relationships, your nights, and your atmosphere are protected, heaven begins to target the inner systems that determine how high you rise and how long you stay elevated. This is where the next wave of divine strategies comes alive. The next strategy is the embargo on negative speech. Chosen one, listen to me with your spirit. Your words have been building worlds without your awareness. Some of the delay you felt wasn't demonic. It was linguistic. Every time you said, "I'm tired, I'm broke, nothing works for me, people always betray me, my life never changes," you were issuing a prophetic decree against your own future. Words are seeds, and heaven can only accelerate what your mouth agrees with. Do this starting today. Ban every phrase that speaks death over your destiny. Replace them instantly with life words. Say, I am aligned. I am rising. I am protected. I am walking into abundance. My breakthrough is unfolding now. This is not pretending. This is spiritual law. Your language must match your calling, and if you feel your heart responding to this shift, whisper it into the comments as a declaration, my words build my future. Because chosen one, once heaven hears that tone from you, your atmosphere begins to rearrange itself. And as your words purify your environment, God brings you into the next strategy, the environment shift. The physical space around you is a mirror of your spiritual atmosphere. Clutter is not just mess. Clutter is stagnation. It traps energy. It muffles clarity. It blocks divine alignment. This is why some of your greatest spiritual warfare happens in your own home. Do this as soon as you can. Clean one corner, one drawer, one closet. Throw away the objects tied to painful memories. Open your windows. Let light in. Rearrange your room so it feels like a place where revelation can land. Make your home a sanctuary, not a storage room for old versions of yourself. When your physical space shifts, your spirit begins to breathe. Your intuition becomes sharper. Your focus strengthens. Wealth transfer flows more freely. The moment you say, God, I prepare a place for what you're sending, heaven takes that as invitation. And now that your words and your physical atmosphere are being cleansed, heaven draws you into a discipline that elevates your entire being, the fasting breakthrough. This is not punishment. This is purification. Fasting clears out spiritual static. It sharpens discernment. It breaks addictions tied to generational curses. It disconnects the noise that once drowned out divine instruction. You don't have to start with something extreme. Begin with one meal, or with sugar, or with social media. Let your body feel what your spirit has been craving. Quiet. When you fast, you disrupt the patterns the enemy tried to build around your appetite, your attention, your impulses. You reclaim authority over the flesh. You open spiritual channels that have been blocked for years. And you begin to recognize the voice of God without effort, without confusion, without second guessing. This is how you accelerate destiny. This is how you sharpen your prophetic instruction. This is how you step into the next dimension of spiritual warfare with clarity instead of fear. And as your spirit purifies, your body resets, and your vision clears, heaven is preparing to release yet another layer of the blueprint, one that, and as heaven prepares to release the next dimension, there is something I must tell. You, with clarity and truth, none of this will matter if you are not consistent. Chosen one revelation without repetition becomes dust. Power without practice dissolves. Victory without discipline slips through your fingers like water. You have seen this pattern before. You start strong, on fire, awakened, determined. And then by the third day the heat cools, the routine fades, and the enemy waits for that moment. Because hell does not fear a believer who begins. Hell fears a believer who continues. The danger is not ignorance. The danger is inconsistency. Empires do not fall because their architects lacked blueprints. They fall because someone stopped tending the foundation. And your foundation needs tending daily. Not occasionally. Not when you feel inspired. Not when life gets quiet. Daily. Consistency is the oxygen of elevation. It is what keeps your spiritual authority sharp. It is what keeps destiny alignment intact. It is what keeps the doors of financial breakthrough open and the windows of heaven from closing over your life. But hear me. You are not meant to maintain this fire by human strength. Willpower burns out. Passion fades. Emotion fluctuates. The Holy Spirit is the only one who can keep your spirit steady through spiritual warfare, through generational storms, through breakthrough pressure. Lean on Him. Ask Him to steady your mind when distractions rise. Invite Him into your mornings before the world claims your attention. Let Him strengthen your resolve when discipline feels heavy. You are not doing this alone. Heaven is invested in your endurance. And now we stand at the threshold. All these weapons have now been placed in your hands. But there is one final key that activates them. Without this key, nothing ignites. That key is the sealing prayer. We are about to step into the Holy of Holies. Prepare your heart, chosen one. Let the noise fall away. Let the air around you slow. Let every part of you recognize that we have stepped onto holy ground. Before we continue, change your posture. Place one hand over your heart, or lift both hands slightly, or close your eyes and allow your breath to deepen. This is not ritual. This is positioning. Heaven responds to posture the way a seed responds to soil. Now, breathe again, gently, because the veil is thinning, and the one who hears every whispered cry is drawing near. Lord of hosts, God who reveals what was hidden, God who fights battles we never saw, God who exposes secrets so your children can be free. We come before you now with a trembling kind of gratitude. Thank you for the unveiling. Thank you for the warnings. Thank you for the protection that wrapped around us even when we didn't know we were in danger. We feel your presence now settling over us like a mantle, soft and yet stronger than any storm that has touched our lives. Father, we step before you not as victims of spiritual warfare, but as those you have handpicked, those you have trained in darkness for glory that is rising, those you have called chosen, even when the world called us broken. In this sacred moment, we ask you to draw closer, closer than fear, closer than memories, closer than the shadows that once clung to our path. Lord of hosts, the one who commands angels with a whisper, the one who sees betrayal before it forms, the one who says, "No more secrets, lean your ear toward us now." We thank you for the exposure that protected our destiny. We thank you for every hidden truth you have brought into the light. We thank you that what once confused us is now becoming clear. And now, God, begin to touch the places inside us that were bruised by the things we discovered. Touch the parts of us that kept loving past the warning signs. Touch the places where hope grew thin from carrying battles that were not ours to fight. Touch the chest that tightened in the night. Touch the mind that replayed conversations, trying to find where things went wrong. Touch the spirit that still trembles from wounds no one else could see. Lord of hosts, the revealer, the defender, the one who goes before us, wrap your hand around our spirit and steady us. Steady the thoughts that rise too quickly. Steady the heart that beats with memory and fear. Steady the soul that's trying to understand why certain people had to be removed so violently, so suddenly, so undeniably. We surrender the confusion. We surrender the anger. We surrender the ache that came with clarity. We surrender the heaviness that follows revelation. And in this sacred silence, we ask you to begin something new inside us, a cleansing, a releasing, a settling of truth so deep that no lie can ever cling to us again. Father, we stand before you with open hands, open hearts, open spirits. Receive us now as we cross deeper into this holy place. And Father, as we stand here, let the next wave of your power move through every hidden chamber of our lives. Lord of hosts, release now the breaker anointing. I decree by the authority of heaven that every generational curse, spoken, unspoken, inherited, or invited, breaks under your hand right now. Break the patterns that ran through our bloodline like rivers of bondage. Break the addictions that masqueraded as comfort. Break the cycles of betrayal, poverty, delay, and emotional abandonment. Break the chains wrapped around our lineage so tightly that our ancestors never escaped them. We refuse to carry what they died under. We refuse to bow to what they surrendered to. We refuse to repeat the battles they lost. In your presence, Lord, every chain snaps, every curse dissolves, every familiar spirit loses jurisdiction. Let the thunder of heaven announce that the cycle ends here. And now, Father, raise around us the divine hedge, a wall of fire, a circle of untouchable glory, a barrier no witchcraft can cross, no monitoring spirit can penetrate, no enemy can climb. Surround our homes, surround our children, surround our finances, our relationships, our sleep, our destiny. Let every nighttime attack crash against your fire and melt into nothing. Let every wandering spirit that once roamed the perimeter of our homes be blinded, silenced, and expelled. Fortify our atmosphere until darkness cannot recognize the doorway to our lives. Make our dwelling places too bright for evil, too guarded for interference, too holy for intrusion. Mark our thresholds with the fire of the Lord of hosts. And Father, for every whisper that rose against our mind, for every lie that curled around our thoughts in the night, for every voice that said we were unworthy, unprepared, unloved, unprotected, I speak now, the enemy, silencer. I bind every lying tongue. I muzzle every voice that accused, shamed, manipulated, or tormented us. Silence the fear. Whispers. Silence the anxiety that screams in the quiet moments. Silence the internal critic, shaped by years of emotional wounds. Silence every dark suggestion that tried to convince us we were alone. Let only your voice remain clear, steady, unmistakable. Let your truth drown out every echo of trauma. Let your presence quiet every storm in the mind. And, Lord, with every chain shattered, every whisper silenced, every wall of fire raised, we seal this moment in the only way heaven recognizes: it is done, Navera. It is established. It is sealed in the courts of heaven. Let this prayer stand as a decree that cannot be overturned. Let every word spoken here echo through realms seen and unseen. Let the seal of the Lord rest on the one who prayed with us, now and forward into destiny. Chosen one, if your spirit felt the shift, if you sensed God moving through these words, then stay connected to this flow. Subscribe to stay aligned with this prophetic stream so you never miss the next instruction heaven releases over your life. This isn't entertainment. This is guidance for your journey, a lifeline for your calling, a lighthouse for your spirit. And if this prayer touched something deep inside you, if it met you in a place you didn't even have language for, then hear this with your heart. There are moments in Scripture where God's people built an altar not to buy a blessing but to mark a moment, to say, "He met me here." Tonight is one of those moments. If you feel led, use super thanks as your stone of remembrance, a symbolic act, a personal altar, a quiet way of saying, "God shifted something in me tonight, and I honor it." not payment, not obligation, just a sacred gesture of alignment, your own way of sealing what heaven has begun. And now, beloved soul, walk gently through the rest of this night. Your spirit has been washed. Your path has been cleared. Your name has been defended. And your future is rising with a new light. You are stepping into destiny. You are stepping into clarity. And God is moving right now on your behalf.